I'm Alex Dykes, thetruthaboutcars.com, and today we're out in the forest looking at the Jeep Grand Cherokee Overland. Now, this is sort of the American Range Rover in my mind because it's a mixture of full-on rugged off-road ability with a luxurious interior. Let's dive in and take a look. Under the hood of the Overland, you'll find the same engine options that there are in every other Jeep Grand Cherokee model. That's kind of interesting, really, because in the past, the Limited and Overland models came only with the V8. But as sort of a nod to fuel economy, you can get either the 3.6-liter 290 horsepower V6 and 5-speed automatic transmission, or this 5.7-liter Hemi engine, which is 360 horsepower and is mated to Chrysler's new, or almost new, 6-speed automatic. That 6-speed automatic is the 65 RFE transmission, and if you are sort of a Chrysler transmission junkie, then you'll know that the 45, the 545, and the 65 RFE are really all the same transmission in essence. This one's just been programmed to deliver 6 speeds. If there was ever a doubt that stitched leather goodness can fix an interior, then the Jeep Grand Cherokee Overland and the Chrysler 300 luxury packages are definite proof that this actually works. If you've been inside the Jeep Grand Cherokee Laredo interior, you'll notice that they have sort of a soft rubbery dash, and its color doesn't quite match with the plastic lower in the dashboard. But here in the Overland, everything just comes together really quite shockingly well, actually. And this is definitely where that Range Rover parallel comes, because this stitched leather dashboard is definitely worthy of a British luxury car manufacturer. So is this gorgeous dark stained olive wood. Sort of furthering that Range Rover comparison, we also get contrasting piping on the driver's seats. We get a split grain steering wheel, heated of course. We get all manner of electronic doodads and nannies, from radar cruise control to a heated steering wheel, which is quite nice, heated and cooled front seats. One thing that is a little bit of a downer inside this cabin, but Chrysler is supposedly fixing for 2014, is this older uConnect radio. We'll go over that in a bit, but its operation is a little bit slow and the interface is clunky and definitely old. But again, Chrysler promises to be fixing that for the 2014 model, bringing their larger 8.4-inch uConnect system to the Jeep Grand Cherokee without changing too much else. Now, if we go down here in the center console, we find that we have the gear shift here, also from the Laredo model. That again is somewhat of a downer, but honestly you're not looking at that so much. The text on this just isn't terribly attractive, but it doesn't match with the nice things that are going on up here. Even the seams in the leather on these doors are excellent. It's really quite a good cabin. Taking a better look at the interior here, we have our standard dual zone climate control, again our uConnect audio and navigation system. Moving over here to the steering wheel, we have our radar cruise control buttons, and of course our interface buttons here for our display that's in between the two gauges. This is a tilt telescoping steering wheel, electrically with the knob on the side, and it is memory enabled. And of course we get Chrysler's usual radio controls on the backs of the steering wheel. Here we have Chrysler's version of Range Rover's terrain management system. So of course we get our different modes depending on the surface that you're in. We also get hill descent control, and of course a low range gearbox, because this is a dedicated off-road type vehicle, very much like the Range Rovers of course, where even though you have luxury, they haven't skimped on your all-wheel drive capability. Over here we get our height adjustable suspension, lowers to park, so that makes it easier to get in and out of, and it jumps right up to just a little over 11 inches of ground clearance at its highest setting. The normal cruise setting for this vehicle is somewhere around 8 inches, we're told, and if you're driving it on the highway at higher speeds, it will lower a slight amount for aerodynamic efficiency. If you put it in sport mode, the car automatically engages a slightly different stability control mode, as well as lowering the suspension just a little bit for even better aerodynamic ability. The rear seats of the Grand Cherokee are a little bit less comfortable than the fronts, of course, but that's normal in any vehicle. We do, however, finally get air vents here in the rear, which is a nice touch in this particular Jeep Grand Cherokee. We have hard plastic backs to the front seats, which goes with the durability image of the Jeep. We also get reclining rear seats, which is a very nice feature, and a little bit unusual actually in this segment. They do fold basically completely flat in this 60-40 arrangement here, as you can see. Very handy actually, because this Grand Cherokee is much bigger than Grand Cherokees in the past. It's about 4 feet wide in the back here. So we were able to fit a 4-foot light fixture here in the back, You can't really fit things that are 4 feet wide, like 4x8 sheets of plywood wouldn't fit in here because the hatch isn't quite that big. But inside you can put those longer items sideways in the vehicle, which makes it quite handy. And even the center seat is really not that bad. Headroom is fairly good in this vehicle, even with this large sunroof. Not a bad back seat. Cargo room in the Grand Cherokee has long taken a back seat, and there are many reasons for that, of course, because in an off-road vehicle, you want maximum approach and departure angles. You want your vehicle to be as short as possible for best off-roading. You want short wheelbases, etc. And that takes sort of a toll on the cargo area. Now we have the spare tire under this load floor here in the cargo area, which has these nice sort of metal rails here to help cargo slide in and out easier. It does make certain things roll around a bit more in the trunk. We do have a few other nice features here. We have grocery bag holders on the side. We have Chrysler's sort of stereotypical built-in flashlight. Not sure if you can see that in the video. Built into the car here, automatically charges when it's plugged into the car. And in the Jeep Grand Cherokee Overland, as in some of the other models available, we get the power rear hatch. And what's nice about this one in this particular generation of Jeep is that the power hatch doesn't intrude on the interior cargo space in the vehicle much, as you can see. This pillar on the side here is the same size as this pillar, even though that's where the power hatch is. Overall, I'd give this cargo area a solid 8 out of 10, both for spaciousness as well as fit and finish. Also something you don't expect out of Chrysler. Overall, the ride is just about as good as you could expect from a vehicle that's this heavy, and the Jeep Grand Cherokee Overland weighs something north of 5,000 pounds. So again, we are in the same neighborhood as the Range Rover products again, but the Range Rovers have wider tires, and that's really what seems to limit the handling on the Jeep Grand Cherokee, because when it's in sport and you're on a mountain road, the chassis feels like it's up to the task, but the tires just give out a little bit too soon. That's definitely something you could rectify yourself. On the gadgets and gizmos front in the Jeep Grand Cherokee Overland, we get the adaptive cruise control system, which uses a radar in the front of the car to keep you at a preset distance from the car in front of you. It also provides pre-collision warning in this particular vehicle. Now for 2014, we're told to expect a full range system. This particular system will only slow you down to about 20 miles an hour, and then it beeps at you and tells you have to take over. We also get blind spot warning and blind spot information, so if you have something in your blind spot, there'll be a little indicator on the turn signal, or on the side view mirror rather, and when you turn on the turn signal, the car will beep at you to let you know that there's something there. We get automatic high beams as well as automatic headlights that use a little camera system up here to basically look at the traffic in front of you and decide whether or not it's okay to turn on the high beams. As far as the systems we've tested, this automatic high beam system definitely works very well compared to some of the others. The Land Rover and Jaguar systems seem to get a little bit confused on windy mountain roads, turning the high beams on or off at the strangest of moments, but this system seemed to get it right just about every time. We also get this enormous skylight here with the sunroof section here, as well as a fixed glass section over the rear seats. That is quite nice. Shifts with this transmission are a little bit slow and a little bit soft, coupled with a desire to upshift early and sort of a reluctance to downshift. It's a little bit of a frustrating combination, if I'm honest. That's all supposed to be fixed in 2014, however, because this is going to get the new ZF 8-speed transmission, which Chrysler is dubbing Torque Fleet 8. That transmission has the potential of not only improving the fuel economy in the V6 and V8 models, but significantly improving the performance as well. We've driven that in the Chrysler 300, and I can say that that transmission definitely is not reluctant to downshift. It is just as eager to upshift, but it's also pretty darn eager to downshift and deliver that power when you want it. Our tester rang in just around $52,000, so if you compare that to something like a Range Rover or Range Rover Sport, then this is obviously the bargain deal, because of course for that kind of money you'd be getting a used Range Rover Sport, and you wouldn't be getting all the options that this particular model has. Of course, the Range Rover lineup has much more powerful engines and some nicer interior options as well, but still this competes quite well with them, strangely enough. And if you compare this to things like the new Ford Explorer, the new Ford Explorer is quite luxurious inside, it's quite nice, but it honestly doesn't have any of the true all-wheel drive and off-roading ability that the Jeep Grand Cherokee still possesses. Mind you, I wouldn't take my $51,000 SUV off-road any more than I would take my Range Rover off-road, so how much that really matters to you, I can't really say. But if you're living on a ranch somewhere in the US, then you can't go wrong with a new Jeep Grand Cherokee.